Hello everyone, welcome back to Cross/Game. My name's Evie and I'm here to bring you a new segment on this channel. Early days, but I came up with this idea for everyone that kind of loves Final Fantasy as a brand and all the games and everything that comes with the name Final Fantasy. And what it is pretty much the fact that I don't only play Final Fantasy games. So I thought to myself, well, if I love Final Fantasy, but I also like or love all these other games, I thought maybe there's a lot more people out there that would benefit from all the other games that I play. So ultimately I thought, here's a new segment. If you love Final Fantasy, you might also like, and then I'll come up with a game to talk about with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm kind of excited because it gives me opportunity to talk about all these other games and that I really enjoyed playing over the years. It could range from a PS1, NES, Mega Drive. It could go all the way back to the 90s consoles, and could be anything from the most recent future as well. So I really hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get started. So for the first time, or the first game that I'm going to talk about, so if you do love Final Fantasy as much as I do anyways, you might also like Elite Dangerous. So I don't know about you guys, but something about this game has always captivated me, even before I even purchased it and started playing it. But the idea of space has always fascinated. It's fascinated me a lot. From a young child, you kind of always look up in the stars and you kind of imagine what the hell's going on up there, if there are other people, aliens, all that stuff. And you let your sort of imagination take you to places that realistically you'll probably never end up going. Space being one of those, biggest mysteries in the world. But Frontier, they created this game. It's kind of like there's been iterations of Elite back in the 80s and 90s, I think into the 90s. But I think it was 2013, Frontier, gave it their shot at creating a ultimate Elite game, and it's called Elite Dangerous. When I saw this, I remember I was going to EGX in London, and I was walking around, and there was one stage there dedicated to Elite Dangerous. And I looked at it, and I could see some, sort of video footage going on, and I thought this looks interesting. After a little bit of research, it kind of sort of stayed at the back of my mind up until about a year ago. And I was like kind of thinking, I don't know what to play, I just wanted to try something different. And all of a sudden the PSN was doing a sale on certain get titles, and Elite Dangerous was there. I was like, oh, okay, I'll give this a go. Downloaded it, started playing it, and dare I say I was pleasantly surprised. There's kind of like a bit of a very steep learning curve to Elite Dangerous, because just like you get Flight Simulator, and if you were to just pick up Flight Simulator and try and take off with a plane, you're not gonna. It's not gonna happen, is it? You're gonna be there twiddling, all the buttons and trying to get something to happen, to see if anything takes off. But nah, and Elite kind of works in the same way, because it's what I would say is a space simulator. Now, I've like I said earlier, I've imagined going to space. I've imagined what could it be like up there, and I think that Elite kind of really ticks the boxes for what could be, the future of mankind, within a sort of grounded reality at the same time. So the year right now is, I think, 3,326, I think, or 06, I can't remember now. But it, and it kind of paints this future where pretty much humans have sort of explored out of Earth, and now they have means of traversing the galaxy pretty much. So when you're playing a Final Fantasy game and eventually you end up doing the main story content, or you get to a point where you can explore the map, the world is your oyster, right? You got all these. There's going to be some hidden stuff in there, and you'll get to travel with your airship and land there. Oh, this was a secret. What's here? And then you encounter some enemies you've never seen before, or a secret facility, like in Final Fantasy VIII, when you travel to the corner of the map in the sea, and then there's a secret little place there where you can land, and you find a new Guardian Force. You know, when that happens in Final Fantasy, it's amazing, because you feel like, oh, this is brilliant. There's more to it, not just the ultimate story. But with Elite, the galaxy is your playground pretty much, and it's great. It's awesome. I can't really. I know that for PlayStation 4 some years back, they released No Man's Sky, and I think the concept is similar. So if you ever played No Man's Sky, you probably get a bit of the concept. But No Man's Sky has like a sort of a cartoony sort of thing in a way to it, whilst Elite kind of tries to play on real world, what it would be like to command your own ship. For lack of better words, I guess it's the closest thing to Star Trek or Star Wars that I've ever played, apart from probably playing a Star Wars game or a Star Trek game. But ultimately, this gives you that. It kind of throws you right in the middle of it. It gives you a ship, which is your first ship, which is called like a Sidewinder. That's what it's called, and you're kind of left to the tutorials. So you have to learn how to take off, which in itself, once you do it once, you kind of, okay, I get how this works. I have to turn that off, I have to bring up the landing gear, I have to thrust here, up is like this, down is like this, and you kind of start managing how to control the ship. It's difficult to start with. You really kind of get frustrated, and the learning curve is so steep. I had to go and check out some YouTube channels, because I was just a bit, some YouTube videos, I was just a bit bemused on how in depth everything was. Not enough like to feel like Microsoft's Flight Simulator, where here's how to take off with a plane. It's more like in depth to the point where this is what it would be like if you had a spaceship. And pretty much a lot of the things that happen whilst you're commanding or flying with a spaceship kind of happen automatically. If you have the right modules in place, they kind of happen. If you need something, unless if it's something like you need to scan, you point and click and it scans the item or scans the object. So there's things like that. But ultimately, you got this radar right in the middle, as you could probably see through the footage of me playing, and you can see it's overwhelming how much there is to do, but at the same time, everything happens at your pace. The way you ended up sort of getting into the game and learning your sort of way through it. Then after that, it really depends on how much you want to get into it. Sure, you can just go around. There's plenty of like stations around the stars. Like the initial part of the world is so tiny, or the galaxy, I mean, is so tiny. You can literally jump from our star, the sun, and jump to the nearest one, and there's probably other humans that sort of taken over that, and it's I'll get into that in a bit, but there's humans pretty much everywhere now, and they've created space stations everywhere, so you can just travel and land in one of those space stations, and then there'll be some missions that you can do, which will range from passenger missions where you can take a passenger to somewhere they want to go, transporting goods, bounty hunting, taking data across from one place to another, mining for stuff. So you can literally go mine asteroids. You can literally go into an asteroid belt, and they're all floating there, and you can set charges to mine these things, and any minerals that pop out, you can go and collect them and sell them, or if you need them for crafting for objects for your own ship. So I don't know how most people kind of play play Elite Dangerous, but the way I approached it was, there's just too much, so I have to have a focus, right? And you kind of start three-quarters out from the center of the galaxy, our Milky Way, and the center is called Sagittarius A. So you're outside, and to put things in context, humans have colonized this one bit, and it's like a bubble. And within that bubble, there's about three separate sort of main factions, I guess. So humans kind of segregated themselves, just like in the real world politics. So you'll pretty much have, I think if I remember correctly, it's the Empire, the Federation, and there's one more which I can't think right now. Empire, Federation. Anyway, it'll come to me later. And you align yourself with one of those political sort of parties, I guess. And from there, anything you do, if it's within the bubble of one of those sort of parties, you start getting noticed. You start getting, I guess, points in a way, and your name starts traversing. Oh yeah, Commander so and so. You've helped blah blah blah, and now you can come. We'll give you a ticket. You can come visit our star, and you can use our facilities, and we have some missions for you. And kind of, I feel like that's how the game kind of opens up. You start off here, you do some missions here, you get a little bit known, and that opens doors or windows to other stars which previously you might not have been welcome to. Okay, so that's kind of like the small core concept. Generally, it will also open doors to the engineers. So there's multiple engineers across this bubble, this sort of space where all humans live, and each engineer specialises in certain sort of things to do with your ship. So if you want to upgrade your weapons, there's an engineer or two engineers or three engineers that kind of specialise, but ones are better than the others. So, and sometimes you only know where they are and have access to their services once you've done a certain amount of sort of tasks. You've reached a certain objective, and then you have to kind of give them an offering of sorts, which then they go, okay, fine, well, this is what I can do for you. So as long as you bring me the materials, I can upgrade your ship. That then upgrading your ship again opens more doors. Okay, different things to do. So like I said earlier, the game is humongous. It's overwhelming. The difficulty spike is huge, but then when you level yourself out, once you learn how to navigate the stars with your ship, and then when you kind of set your mind on what you really want out of the game, that's when it becomes good. So for starters, it took me probably my first 6 months. I was just messing around with it, and watching videos on YouTube, seeing how do you progress, where's the story, what do you need to do, and then kind of felt like there is some sort of scenarios. There's written scenarios within Elite. You kind of have to find them, I guess, or go online and look up how do you get access to them. And then what I decided was, okay, so my aim is to visit the center of the galaxy. That's my aim. Okay, I said at the beginning of this video that Elite is kind of, or tries to really represent what the future would be for humans if we somehow got out of Earth and started going through the universe and exploring and colonizing and so on and so forth. So from a mathematical perspective, I feel like Elite has nailed what we've only dream about now, which is the distance. So obviously we measure speed, kilometers, miles, wherever you live, and so to get to X place, it will take you this amount of time if you're traveling at 60 miles an hour. Okay, okay, brilliant. So in Elite, as you know, and if you have any sort of you like space, I guess, and you look into it, or any sort of general knowledge, we haven't gone beyond the moon, really. We've sent things out there which take many years to get there. 40 years, 50 years, photos are coming through from probes that were sent out ages ago, but man hasn't, no one's committed themselves yet to putting themselves into a ship and just flying away to never be seen again, really, because the time it takes them to get to, I don't know, Mars or Saturn, by the time they get there, they're probably going to be another 20, 30, 40 years older. And by the time they communicate back to us, unless they're communicating every year, if they come back, they probably won't survive the trip back. They might be in their 90s or 100s, God knows, by the time they make it back. So we haven't developed the technology to get to places fast enough, okay, to make a difference. In Elite, just like Star Trek, Star Wars, they've developed technology that your ship allows you to jump through time, I guess, and space. It's pretty much jumping through space, but also jumping, I guess, through time, because you're taking a lot less time to get to a certain point. So distance is measured in light years, okay, so I can't really tell you how long 1 light year is, but I can tell you that if I wanted to try that, which I've never probably wouldn't be in my sort of lifetime, somehow there's a mathematical equation in Elite where if I start from, I don't know, Earth and just set a course, which is 1 light year away at 200 kilometers an hour, it kind of gives you an abbreviation of how long in your Earth time, so in my time here, how long it would take me to get there. Okay, and it's generally, a lot of the times at a certain speed, it says generally more than 1 year. Okay, now I don't know if that means it's less than 2 years, or if it's just can't calculate how long it would take your ship to get there. But it does have a certain way of showing distance, like going from, like, again, for the same example, from say Earth to the Moon at 200 or 300 kilometers per hour. I think it would probably give me a certain time, okay, to get there, in days, I would say, to get from Earth to the Moon. Now, there's 3 types of speed in Elite. So there's normal speed, which is measured in kilometers. Then there's sort of cruising speed, and that is an ultimate jump in speed. It allows you to get from Earth to the Sun in a matter of minutes. Okay, it's really fast. Okay, so that allows you to traverse a system which generally has 1 or 2 suns, or 3 suns sometimes. Each of those suns might have planets, and each of those planets might have moons, and you can literally traverse that system. Some of them can be, the moons or the planets can be so far away from each other that it could take up to, I don't know, 10 minutes at cruising speed to get from one to the other in normal lifetime speed, so 10 minutes. And then if you kind of want to traverse, then you want to get out of that system, that solar system you're in, you jump from star to star. So that's how it pretty much does a map on Elite, which I'll include images or video footage of, which shows the galaxy, and I'll jump to that now because it's pretty impressive, to say the least. Very overwhelming again. Again, you start off in one system. There's a star, there's some planets, there's a couple of space stations maybe, there's some moons that you can land on and such. But this is where it blows my mind. I don't know how they've done this, okay, but they've calculated approximately 80 billion stars in the Milky Way, okay, and there's no way in our lifetime any player will visit all of those stars, let alone there's going to be stars that will never be touched, okay, on this self-generated computer system that Elite is, okay. It's generated 80 billion star systems, okay, and you can literally travel to each one, okay. You 80 billion possibilities of 80, and in those 80 billion stars, each star will have might have 2 stars together. It might be something like that. It'll have a ton of planets. It'll have some moons, or it might just be the star by himself with no planets at all. What this means is, if you get there and it's that one star system has never been touched, no one's ever sort of been there before, then you are discovering that star. So you, as a commander in Elite, that system will be first discovered by you, and your name will stay recorded for till the end, until the servers die, probably. And anyone else that jumps to that star in the future, if they go looking through what's out there in that star system, in that solar system that you've just discovered, then they'll see, first discovered by Commander Femian, which is my character, my avatar. And I find that impressive. Like, it's that big. It's just that big. Like, you literally will be sort of discovering things that before other people, because there's just that many different stars and not that many players. I think the last counted player base, I might be completely making this up, was something like 3 to 4 million players playing Elite at any given time. I think this is a recent thing because of Corona, so everyone is at home playing, and Elite kind of the sales went up. And I think it said at one point there was 3 million players, player base of 3 million playing the game, and I thought that was really good, and I think everyone's probably enjoying it. So I'll revert back. 80 billion star systems, and through the footage you'll probably see, or have seen, it's probably gone now, I don't know, that each one is pretty much, you can travel to each one of those, and my objective in the game is to get to the center, to visit that center of the galaxy, to see what's out there. It'll be an amazing journey. It's approximately 26,000 light years away from my current position, and I think I travelled, the most I've ever travelled out into the unknown was about 14,000 light years, and I think that took me approximately 2 months in my ship that I had at the time, which was pretty rubbish. It wasn't upgraded at all. I didn't know what I was doing. I just went out. I just wanted to see what was out there, and I saw some amazing vistas. I'll pop up a slideshow of photos of my journey. There's not that many because I should have taken more. There's nebulas, like these nebulas that are out there, and they're beautiful, red, blues, like these colours. I don't know how these things are out there, but they just look amazing. And then on top of that, through, I guess, the story or whatnot, there's actually aliens as well. Now, I know about this because I've seen it online and on YouTube and such, but I've never, up until 2 days ago, I had never encountered them. So I'll put footage of my first time at encountering aliens. They're called the Fargoid, and at one point, like, as Frontier kind of released patches and all that, I read about this, it was just sightings. You'd get sightings. There was a sighting, and then it'll just travel through the community, and oh wow, okay, man, I can't wait to find them. Now there's full-on battles out there. Years later, they're well known. Fargoid. There's these weird ships. They look like massive flowers, and they're deadly pretty much. I haven't again looked into much around the story around them because I want to discover it for myself at some point. But I was lucky enough the other day. I was just again, I'll show you the footage. I was just going out, just leaving this planet, and then I spotted something I'd never seen before. It was like a tanker or something like that, and I just stopped to see what was going on, and then the music changed and these sounds start blurring out, and this tanker starts getting attacked by one of these alien ships. And you'll see by the footage, because I'm such an idiot, I thought, I know what I'll do. How about I poke the bear and I'll just shoot some bullets at it, shoot some beams, and see what happens. And yeah, of course you can guess what happened. I literally got shot to pieces and died. The ship exploded. I'll touch on that in a sec. So yeah, silly me. Shouldn't have done that, and I'll probably never do it again, especially if I'm in deep space, because I will now jump to the next point, which is how the game penalises you in a way, right? So you start off with a ship, and that ship, I think the first ship is worth nothing. So if you kind of explode at the beginning, you don't really lose any money or what they call credits. But your ship, as you upgrade it, or if you buy a better ship and you upgrade that, and you sort of upgrade your ships as you go along, you can do more with a better ship. You can do different types of missions with different ships. You end up sort of having an insurance against it. So what this means is my current ship is beefed up, all these modules, a lot of work. It's kind of like kitting out your car, yeah, and you're putting all these parts into it and making it run faster, jump quicker, jump far distances. So my ship, a normal ship or a small ship, can jump probably up to 9 to 10 light years, 12, 17, right? That's really low jump range. You can't get to places. You have to do like sometimes 20 jumps to get to the place you want to be, and it's really frustrating. So you upgrade the FSD, which is the frame shift drive, which allows your ship to jump from star to star, and my ship now allows me to jump nearly 60 light years at a time, which is brilliant. Okay, that's awesome. I can get to places in about 2 to 3 jumps, generally within the bubble. Okay, but then if I'm traversing, the reason I'm upgrading that sort of jump range is because if I traverse out, if I walk, go exploring, which is what I'm planning to do, I want to be able to jump large distances. So I want to get to the center of the galaxy in the most minimum amount of jumps. I mentioned earlier, 14,000 light years took me nearly 2 months to get there and back. Because what happens is, if your ship explodes for whatever reason, you crash into a star, for example, and your ship explodes. If you do not have the insurance amount to bring your ship back to life, then you lose everything. You start from zero. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that. Your ship, as you upgrade it, is worth a certain amount of money or credits in Elite. And it does, if it explodes, I guess it makes sense. If it explodes, okay, your avatar doesn't die, it just respawns again. But if it explodes, you're not just, unless you have the money to buy that ship back from an insurance perspective, you're just not going to have a ship anymore. And everything, all that work you put into that ship will be lost to the ether. Meaning you'd have to start the whole thing again. So if you buy a ship, you got to make sure you got the money to keep that ship, to maintain that ship. Because the more work you put into that ship and the more you get out of the game, okay, progressing through these missions and everything like that, if all of a sudden it just blows up and you don't have enough credits to buy it back, that's it. You're back to square one, which is really harsh, okay? All the work it went into to get all those modules and put them all together and upgrade them, all the the items you need to upgrade. So from the engineers, you'll go around the moons sort of farming for minerals and metals and stuff like that across the galaxy, and all that work, all those hours will just go evaporate into nothing, which would mean you'd have to go back, collect all the minerals and items, and then go back to the engineer and get them to do everything, which everything costs money. So the first thing you have to do is get credits. The second thing after that, after you've made a decision what you want to do in Elite, get a ship that you're going to keep, and if that ship's good enough for you to do what you want to do, work on it, upgrade it, okay, which is what I've been doing for the past year and a half. Very, not every day of the other games I play. This is a game that you can just hop in and out, upgrade it. But make sure that, the rebuy cost of that ship is something you can afford. Okay, so make sure you have, I want to say, at least 5 times what your ship costs. Because if something happens to you by stupidity, which has happened to me, I've been far out and just literally took my eyes off the screen and my ship just went straight into the sun. Boom, kaput, done. I was dead. I was like, oh no! You kind of respawn all the way back in the last sort of space station you set out from. So that's what happens when you die. Just respawn back there again where you set out from the last time you've parked your ship. But if you don't have the money, you're screwed. So A word for the wise: if you do end up playing Elite, watch out for that. Where do I go from here? Okay, yeah, the other thing I can talk about is the different types of the things you can kind of rank up. So there's combat. So you've got a combat rank, which goes up, and there's a name like start, I think, at novice or whatnot, and helpless, and then you keep going up, and then novice, and so on. And the bigger your rank, the better missions you're gonna get, and the better the missions are, the more rewards you're gonna get. This could be credits or items and stuff. So going up in rank is good. Combat rank means you're literally out there having space battles. I should have some footage of that as well. I'll see as I talk, because as I'm recording this, I'm not seeing what the footage is going to be. So as I mention it, I'll try and incorporate the footage as I speak through the video. And this generally can be through missions that you get from the space stations, the starports, and someone gives you a mission. Say there's a well-known pirate, and they want you to go and get rid of him. So you go out there, you find him in a specific location. You know, if you're good enough, which I always find I'm not, to battle, then yeah, all of a sudden you have to get rid of that ship, collect the reward when you get back. Okay, and that the more ships you destroy out there, you get rewards for destroying it, the credits which you have to collect later, like sort of a bounty hunting sort of scenario, and then your kind of rank, your combat rank goes up like that. Trade rank, which is to do with being a merchant, so of sorts, so you can literally buy and sell commodities. This can be going out and exploring and selling those. That will, get your trade rank up. It could be missions that involve transporting items across from one place to another. So you'll need a ship that has a big hull, so it allows you to transport a lot of materials in tons, I think it is. Sometimes it's really frustrating because there really isn't enough space, and you sometimes realise if you don't pre-prepare before you start something, you kind of just waste your time, which is really frustrating. And I've done it so many times where I just go, I'm getting rid of this mission, I wasn't prepared for it, I don't want to go back and start it over again. So there's the trade rank. Explorer rank, which is my personal favourite, which means, like I mentioned earlier, going out and exploring the galaxy. And it's my favourite thing to do, just walking out into the unknown and seeing the emptiness of space and feeling, it actually gives me that feeling of wonder. It's so beautiful to explore space in Elite, and I hope you guys feel the same way. So the Explorer rank means that when you encounter a star, whether it's been found or seen by another player before, it doesn't matter, or there's a sensor, you got like I'm trying to think of the actual valid names for it, but it doesn't matter. It's basically a sensor array that you explore all the planets within that solar system, and then if there's any planets that are of interest, they might have high metal content or water-based planet, you can send probes in there, which you'll get close to a sort of the planet, and then you kind of can explore the planet by shooting probes into there, and then it feeds back the information, and that means you've 100% researched the planet. And when you get back home or get back to one of the space stations, you can sell all the information that all the exploratory information that you've done whilst you're out and about, and you sell it all back to the Federation or the Empire, which then means you become more friendly with one if you do that. But the best thing about it is it can net you millions, right? If you really put some time into exploring the galaxy, and if you find places that have never been found before, and if those places have planets that are water-based planets, which that information is worth a lot of money, because it means that, for a context, that they could go out there and create another colony. Okay, it's basically they're buying information from all the commanders out there. So yeah, it nets you Explorer rank as you go up. At the moment I'm Pioneer, it's the highest of my of combat trade and such. It's the highest. I'm a pioneer because I've done a lot of exploring, but I want to become elite, which is the best rank you can have, because then it opens the doors to some of the other star systems. Because some places are locked, you can't go there. As in, you can travel there, but you won't. You'll be escorted out, almost not escorted out, but they won't allow you to park anywhere. No, access denied. Get out, go away. So you need to be invited in. You need a sort of ticket. Like I couldn't get to our solar systems, the sun, called Sol in the game. I couldn't visit Earth and see the moon until I was invited, and that took a few missions to do, and then get to the right contacts, complete a couple of missions for them, and then, oh yeah, you're now here. Welcome to the sun. And it was brilliant just going to see our own solar system in the year 3300. There's just something a bit surreal about it. But yeah, so Explorer rank, my personal favourite. And then there's close quarters combat rank, and this is more to do with, again, combat, but there's another section within the game where you can, it's like I've never done it myself. I'm actually helpless as far as that rank is concerned. And you jump in, and there's going to be a ton of other ships, and it's kind of like a free-for-all, and you have to kind of survive, I think. You have to sort of kill everyone else, I guess, or maybe it's a team-based, I don't even know, but it's still close quarters, and you have to kind of be good at shooting and battling in space with other spaceships, so which is definitely not me. So yeah, there's those sort of ranks that you can level up as a commander, which is brilliant. So look out for that. Trying to think. Elite is just humongous, I guess. So I just want you guys to come in and get lost with me, and I guess the only thing left to sort of explain is why Elite. Why would you recommend this game? If I like Final Fantasy, or I love Final Fantasy, why should I play Elite? Well, I guess the first thing I'd say is Elite is completely different than any other game I've ever played. Okay, I've never kind of been a sim sort of, except for Gran Turismo, and even then that's a car simulator, so it's just a racing game, I guess. But a space simulator, and feeling like I'm the commander of my own spaceship, and it allowing, having the galaxy to explore, seeing black holes, like their sort of interpretation of what black hole is, aliens, artifacts, landing on moons and exploring them with my, you get like a little RV with six wheels. It's like they call it a scarab, and it allows you to run around the moons and collecting, exploding rocks and collecting information. You find relics, of old alien relics across, it's just explore. It's you feel like it's unique. This experience is unique to you as one commander. You feel like this is my journey, and I think that's what it kind of connects to Final Fantasy in a way. I guess the feeling of wonderment is so great, and this is why people invest so many hours in Elite. Unless you really have ever researched it, these will never show up on your YouTube feed. But if you look up Elite Dangerous, you'll see how huge it is. And once you really sink your teeth into it, it feels like it sucks you in, and you can't go back out. And I think that's the same feeling you get from Final Fantasy. Okay, Final Fantasy is more story, characters, combat system, and that kind of intrigues you, and you want to get to the end, and it's pretty to look at. Elite is this is your story, okay? It's your avatar story, and you make it your own. There's a lot of different scenarios out there you can take, but you decide what you want to do. The feeling of wonderment, the feeling of it kind of feels like almost like the end game grind in a Final Fantasy game is Elite. The end game grind in the Final Fantasy game is Elite. Now I appreciate that a lot of people are not very, they don't like the grind. Okay, I personally enjoy 100%ing a game. I would definitely ain't going to do that with Elite, but generally with Final Fantasies, I think bar one or two, I've 100%ed them all. Elite kind of feeds you these stepping stones, and every time you succeed, every time you get somewhere, you feel this overwhelming sense, this reward, kind of like killing a boss in Dark Souls after 50 attempts. Oh, okay, exaggerating, but yeah, that's what Elite gives me, this sense of reward, this sense of accomplishment while playing it. And I can literally jump from one game or into Elite and play half an hour of Elite, maybe not accomplish much, or just travel around for a little bit and feel like I've escaped the reality. You know, after a hard day's work, playing Elite for an hour is just the best, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy as a franchise, Final Fantasy VII, still my favourite game of all time. But this is where this segment really comes and shines, is I want to show you guys games that I think would be worth your time, apart from Final Fantasy. Games that you can experience, you know, and feel that, oh, you know what, I really enjoyed that, or, you know, maybe one day I'll get to play that again, or I'll, you know, the experiences was fulfilling, and that's what I want to do with this segment, give you guys fulfilling experiences whilst playing these games that I'm recommending, that should make you feel the same way the first time you played Final Fantasy for the first time. So I hope I succeed in it. Yeah, Elite, guys, definitely just give it a go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think I've kind of spoke my way through everything. There's so much more to talk about, trust me. I've just scratched the surface, and I think that's the other appeal to Elite. There's just so much into it. Obviously there's a whole online element as well. There's other players from the real world playing in there, but it's on the PC, PlayStation 4, so just it's cheap, I think, to buy these days for like 15 quid to get the starting package, which is all you'll need, to be fair, to start with. If you want to get the expansions, you can later on, but the starting package has got enough to keep you going for years, I think. So I really hope I did the games justice. I'll hope you guys enjoyed the footage that I've put up, and if you have any questions about Elite, please don't hesitate, just leave some comments, you know, so I'll reply to them. And I'll leave you with these lasting few bits of footage. Enjoy the music. The wonderment of Elite music is brilliant. And the only, if I had a wish right now, is that they released Elite to work with headset like Oculus Rift. I think you can mod stuff, but I think that for headsets, for like 3D gaming or virtual gaming, Elite is the game to feel like you're in. I would pay all the money in the world to have some of the best 3D like virtual headsets that I could stick in my head and look around, and I'm in my own ship, and all these buttons are happening, and you know, I would love to experience that one day. So if anyone knows how I can do that, I play Elite on the PS4, but I'd gladly get it on the PC if I could get my hands on a nice headset to try and play it that way, because yeah, it's brilliant without it. Let alone I can only imagine what it would be like to play with a headset. Anyway, I'll leave you with these, like I said, these images, these footage, the last footage of me playing, and if you have any questions about Elite, please don't hesitate. I will try my best to sell it, okay? Until the next segment, the next episode of this segment, I'll see you guys then, okay? Please like, share, subscribe, check my Instagram. You guys know the drill, okay? Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye-bye.